everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. So, the whole idea of this market continues to be very similar to what I've been talking about, is that I don't trust this market as far as I could throw it, but there are individual stocks in the market that are defying the odds. Okay, so here's one we're going to start looking at next week. And let's look here at some plays that we've done this week. One that's been defying the odds is BIDU. Now, BIDU is not defying the odds like Skechers in terms of an overall uptrend. Obviously, it's been in a downtrend here for most of 2015, but it's been defying the odds in relation to the market as a whole over the last several weeks. Very clear here that this is an uptrend, right? And what's nice about something like this is that you get a stock that gets into a mode of just not caring what the market is doing. And I just can't emphasize how important I've found that to be. So for BIDU, the first trade we got in here was this squeeze on the 78-minute chart. We had this beautiful run, and then since then, here we sold 2/3 of our position, and now we've just been kind of holding on to a lighter position. And so the question is that today, with the Qs like getting hammered, is this a position that we want to continue to hold on to? So what I like about this, a couple different things, and let me show you how we've got this structured. But first of all, the main thing to keep in mind is that while the market today tanked, BIDU just kind of did its own thing. Okay, that's a huge thing. And then the way we've got this structured, okay, so the 195 call today ended up making a little bit of money, $250, but the real money came from the put spread. Okay, as the market figured out that BIDU wasn't going to die, the premium just got zapped. Okay, and that money went straight into our account. And I think that's important to realize that not only is this not just a naked put, right? It is a put spread, and the put spread here put more money in our pocket than this equivalent amount of long calls. Okay, that's huge. And last but not least, we did sell the 207.5 calls that expire tomorrow against our next week calls, with the idea that we might be able to, maybe those will expire worthless. Who knows? I mean, if BIDU goes up, $4 tomorrow, then no. But in a perfect world, we would close between, 204.50, and of course, even a more perfect world is we close at 207.25. The put spread expires worthless. We got bang up profits on the call, and this expires worthless, and we hold this into next week. All right, so that's what we're looking for. We'll see what happens. The other thing that I was watching today was that the skew popped up. Okay, so the skew popped up here as we went into the close intraday, and then ended up closing at 121. Actually, today it got up to like 1 intraday. It got a little bit higher, but this was like in the last 30 minutes as the market was falling kind of out of bed. And you can see here with the ticks that not only did we have some sell programs kind of around the lunch area, but there was persistent selling into the close for a while as well. So what was interesting on this is that all the skew spiked when the NASDAQ sold off here in the 44.70. Okay, and at that point, especially before non-farm payrolls, that's a complete tell of the markets. I mean, there was 860,000 puts traded versus like 200,000 calls. That means they're, jacking up the premium on those puts. So the only logical thing to do there is to sell those puts at the close. And you can see here, this is about literally 15 minutes before the close. We sold the 44.80, 44.65 put spread, which expires in the morning, for 470, and then 15 minutes later it's at 227. Okay, so at this point, if the NASDAQ can open up flat to higher, we will end up with max profit on that trade. In addition to this, we also did the same on the SPX. Now, on the SPX, so let's see if I can actually type that symbol in correctly. That is half the battle. On the SPX, we had an iron condor here. The put spread was taking a little bit of heat, right? And at this point, you can see the put here, the put spread down, 3,000 minus 2,100, so $900. And then the call spread, $875. That leaves us with a net loss of $450. But during the skew spike, we actually sold the 2075, 2070 put spread, made some money on that, with the idea that tomorrow we can actually end up making money on the put spread if the market here can rally a little bit. And last but not least, we did, once that skew spiked up, we did buy some NASDAQ futures. Now this is interesting here. Hold on just a second. And okay, so it's showing the market's closed right now, so the bid ask is set fairly wide, but this was actually it should be up about 800 bucks. But either way, what I'm looking for is that we actually rally into the non-farm payrolls, and the goal here is to close this prior to the non-farm payrolls being released. And last but not least, I really like Netflix in this market. This stock continues to just be very strong to the upside. You can see this 195-minute chart. It's poised to break up to the upside. Now, we've been trying to take advantage of the quiet market, at least in Netflix this week. While the market has been volatile, Netflix really has been kind of languishing. So we'd set up an iron condor. We've made a little bit of money on that. Now, today we ended up buying some calls that expire next week with the idea that we are going to actually have a little bit of upside bias. So the question is, well, what happens if Netflix, and you can see after hours it's a little bit higher. What happens tomorrow if it's really strong and the upside portion of this condor gets in trouble? Well, we're long calls here, so that would obviously more than offset. But if we're strong in the morning, we may just look at buying back that call spread, leaving the put spread, and then riding these long calls. If we break to new highs, I would actually then look at turning this into a vertical. Okay, and I am excited to announce that the new filter for the hedge fund class is done. There are over 500 stocks in this list. About 250 of them are over $10 a share, and the rest of them are under $10 a share. And the ones that are under $10 a share are, of the thousands and thousands of stocks that are out there under $10 a share, these are the few hundred that have the potential to become hedge fund darlings. And the idea here is once they cross $10, their move can exponentially increase, because at that point, essentially mutual funds are not allowed to buy stocks under $10. Okay, so once they poke up their head above 10 bucks, then they can come on. And some hedge funds are also not allowed, but then they can come on too, and that creates demand. So the way I do this, and my first really big trade was actually back in college using this exact same strategy, and since then I've obviously refined it over time. But essentially, there are 197 industries out there. Okay, so we're looking for the top 10. And within these top 10, there are hundreds of stocks. But of those hundreds of stocks, which 2 or 3 do you pick to be kind of the next hedge fund darlings? Okay, now you can spend hours every weekend utilizing the steps and the tools that I'm going to show you at the Saturday class to do this, or you can just click your mouse. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, we've set up a stock scanner, and the stock scanner dumps all 500 plus stocks in there, and then when they tee up and they're ready for kind of a hedge fund type breakout, it brings them up on the list. Okay, so that's hugely important. So the idea with this is that typically there's going to be 300, 400, 500 stocks at any given time that meet the criteria, and you can spend each weekend hours and hours and hours looking for the 8 signal traits in each stock, or you can click your mouse and our new scanner, which is going to be released this Saturday. Okay, this is not the stock scanner. The stock scanner that we have right now is based on larger stocks, established companies that have options and squeezes. Okay, this is a new scanner that finds kind of these next hedge fund darlings that are ready to break out. The scanner, which will be $47 a month, you get 2 years of it for free by signing up for the full class. Okay, so the Saturday class is $297. The full class is $997, which is the Saturday class plus 7 days, or not 7 days, 3 days of live trading. Okay, and that includes the scanner. So the other thing is that a lot of times after these classes, people have questions. Okay, well, the Saturday class is going to lay everything out, but you may need one-on-one coaching after the fact to make sure you're really up to speed. Well, guess what? In the $997 class, in addition to the 3 days of live trading, and by the way, one of the things that people are asking is like, well, what are we going to be doing during the 3 days of live trading? Just looking for these small hedge fund stocks. That's a small part of it. We're actually going to be doing additional teaching on essentially how to do option trades around stocks. Now, this is just an example. Here's 200 shares of PANW for 156 bucks. Now it's 170, and around this we've sold put spreads, we've sold covered calls. Small taste of it, but there are ways to actually trade stocks like this with options where the trade can actually be 100% risk-free. okay? And I do that every Thursday. I find opportunities for that. Going to teach that. There are no risk callers, covered calls, cash covered puts, all stuff that is not going to be covered on Saturday, which will be covered during the 3-day training. So last but not least, I get that some people cannot pay, like the $9.97 may be like, oh my God, that's just too expensive. So here's a question for you. So what about $99 a month for the class? So you can see here the Saturday class is $297. The Saturday class plus the 3 days of live trading, which also includes all the strategies I was just talking about, and 2 years of the free scanner and free coaching. There is a way to actually sign up for that for $99 a month, i.e. kind of interest-free financing as opposed to paying it all at once, okay? So how do you do that? All right, well, if you type in www.simplerstocks.com/blueprint, okay, that's going to take you to the sales page here. And then from here, and by the way, the class is going to be this Saturday. That's the Saturday class, June 6th, live trading, the 9th, 11th, and 12th. Come down to the bottom here, and you're going to see an option for $297 and for $997. Now, if you would like to qualify or just do the financing, and by the way, it's not a credit check or anything like that. It's essentially automatic. There's a couple of caveats which I'll go through here, but just go here and go add to cart. All right, and you're going to come down. You're going to fill in your information, and you'll see here down at the bottom. Let's see. There we go. There's a PayPal. Click that, okay? And when you click on PayPal, place your order. And of course, you got to fill in your information here, but then click place your order. And then what's going to happen is it is going to go over to PayPal, okay? Now, here you are. And when you see this, you're going to see two options here, and the first one's going to say, well, pay with PayPal, log in, okay? You don't want to do that. That's not going to work. You actually need to click this one that says pay with debit or credit card. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and it's processing, and now you can say, okay, great, pay with debit or credit card. And then what happens when you get to that page, if you've already got a PayPal account, you'll see an option that says, hey, if you'd like to finance this, you can do no interest, okay, and it's essentially no interest. So at $9.97, you can actually set it up for a 6-month plan, and whatever that comes out to be. But then if you do it by, this is something that you have to sign up for by June 30th, and obviously our class is coming up on Saturday, and it's kind of a nice way to do it. So there's no interest. You don't have to pay the full $9.97 up front. Essentially, PayPal finances it for you. So anyway, that's an option if you're a PayPal user and you don't want to pay the full $9.97 up front. All right, simplerstocks.com/blueprint, and it's going to be an awesome class. I got a lot of cool stuff to show you guys, and we'll see you there.